Hey everybody, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. Hope you're all doing well today. We're going to do a fun little Stampin' Show and Tell. We're going to be using a Hostess set, so you can get a Hostess set whenever you have a qualifying order or party of at least $150 in sales. This is the Hostess set just because, and it's got these 3 great potted plants and some really great expressions. You make my heart soar, Happy Mother's Day, thank you. I am what I am because of you and thinking of you. So let's go ahead and do this fun little card. We're going to be using our rectangular framelits that are new in the spring occasion. I'm going to be pulling out my Petal Burst folder. We're going to emboss the front of our card, and we're going to do some fun coloring with our blends. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay, so my kit is pretty simple. I'm using Shaded Spruce and Soft Seafoam. I'm also using a piece of Designer Series paper from our Abstract Impressions set. Okay, we're going to do some die cutting on the white and the Shaded Spruce. We're going to use a little piece of ribbon there, paper ribbon to go across, and we're going to be good to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's do our Big Shot work first. So I bring in my Big Shot machine, put it here where we can see what's going on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my rectangular shaped framelits, one plate on the bottom. I'm using thick white. Now for the white one, I'm just going to use one of the framelits. And we're just going to run that through. Die cut that. Now I'm going to check mine before I take the framelit off because my plates are a little bit warped. They're giving me a little bit of trouble. I need to get a new set, but I'm just going to run it through a second time, and that will help me get a good cut on that. So I can pop that right out. Yep. So if yours doesn't cut quite through the first time, just run it through again and it should be good to go. Alright, so there's the inside piece. Now, for the Shaded Spruce, I'm going to use 2 sets. So I'm using one size larger than the one I just used for the white, and I'm just going to put them down together. Now you might be saying, why is she doing that? She's going to be layering them on our card. Why does she need to cut out the inside piece? Well, you might not see it on camera, but when you cut with the stitched shaped framelits, there's actually 2 sets of stitching on them. One ends up on your cut piece, so like here's the white. One gives me that stitched edge. But then there's also a stitched edge on the piece that was on the outside, so it kind of creates a frame. So by cutting both of them together on my Shaded Spruce piece, okay, here's the little piece that's going to be my scrap. And then when I take these off, okay, so here's my inside piece, the same size as my white one. Now I'm not going to actually use this on the card, but that could be used on another project. And then when I take off these frames, okay, there's one, so that's my inside stitch. And then I also have an outside stitch, so it's like a double stitch. So I wanted that effect on my frame for my card, so that's why I used both of them when I made that piece. Now some of you might be thinking, okay, that's great, great detail, but that's such a tiny little frame to use on our card, right? Well, don't worry, we're going to fix that. So I have this piece that fits in here like a puzzle piece, right? So if I flip both pieces over and I set that piece in there, and then watch, I'm just going to take my snail and put them together. Okay, so when I go to put that on my card, it'll be like having one piece, but it'll be all together. And I'm going to set that aside for a second. Now, we have our soft seafoam. Now I'm going to bring my Big Shot back in because we're going to emboss this with our petal burst folder. So this time I need to open up my platform. Right, I need one plate underneath. This is one of those thinner folders. And I'm going to emboss the whole front of my card. So when I open this up, I want to make sure that my crease is along the top edge. I'm going to do it open. And I'll put my other plate on top. I'm just going to run that through. So nice, easy embossing with our folder. See, and then I've just got that subtle petal texture there. I thought that was a good thing to tie in with our flower images. Okay, so now I was noticing as we started, I forgot to cut this down. So this is my back piece. Okay, that's going to be my mounting piece, and then my card is supposed to be 4 inches instead of 4 1/4 inches wide. So let me bring my paper trimmer in, and we'll just give that a trim real quick so that it'll mount inside. So I'm just taking it down 1/4 inch. So there's that. Take that down to 4 inches, and then I also want it to be 5 1/4 inches instead of 5 1/2 inches long. So let me just open this up and make sure. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, that's 5 1/4 here. Yep, I need to trim it a little bit this way too. So, got a little added perk there today, showing you how I trim these down just a little bit to make them frameable inside of a mounting piece. Is that cut? Yep, good. Okay. So, now we can start putting our card together. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this one we just prepped to the 1/4 size cardstock for the back mount. So this just gets centered on there. Okay. And then I've got my piece of Designer Series paper that I'm putting right there on the bottom, right over the top of that embossing. So give that a good press so that it adheres well. And then I just have a piece of 3/4 inch shaded spruce scrap cardstock that I'm putting right across the seam there. Okay, just building up some detail. Alright, so now we're ready for our square, right? Now, we do need to stamp, and I forgot to do that. We need to stamp our image. So, we're going to take our stamp. We're going to ink it up with Memento, because I'm going to color with the blends. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that on there. And then I'm bringing in shaded spruce, and I'm going to stamp the thank you underneath. Good. Alright, now, can anybody tell me what's wrong with my stamp? Actually, it's not wrong, it's just different. So here's my stamp set, and this one comes with the Happy Mother's Day underneath. Well, I decided I didn't want it underneath, so I took out my good old rubber scissors and I trimmed it off. So the stamp should be like this. So I just trimmed it underneath there, and now I've got 2 stamps. I've got the image and I've got the words. So if you've got those rubber scissors around from when we used to have to trim them out when they came, you can do that with your stamps and just make 2 stamps out of 1. So that's how I did that. So if you were sharp with watching and saying, hey, that stamp's not the way it looks in the set, that's because I changed it. Okay, now we can put this piece on our card. I'm going to add a little more snail because I want it to stick not popping it up, just putting it on my card. Okay, now, if you wanted to, you could just color in with your blends like that. Okay, and I think you've all seen me color in blends enough times, but then what I did, a second thing, after I got done with the card and I said, oh, I really like that, I stamped it and cut it out, and I colored it again. And the idea is that you can actually pop it up and give it some dimension. So I'm going to do that with this one. So you could color the underlying image and then do the colored image popped up on top as well. Or you can just color one image, trim it out, and then pop it right over the top, kind of like spotlighting that on top. So version A, version B. Alright, so there's that. Now, I loved the other images in this set too, so if I were to replace it with this image, this potted plant, and then I also have one where I could pop it up over the top, or I've got this other one, right? Imagine that going in there instead, and you could pop that up on top. So it's a really fun set. Again, it's a Hostess set, so you've got to qualify your order for it, have a $150 order for it in order to pick one up. But think of all the things you can do with those wonderful potted plants, all the different occasions you could use them for, and all the different colors you can use. I mean, I tied in my colors with my Abstract Impression Designer Series paper, but you could use any paper that you want down here and tie in your colors accordingly. So, there you go, guys. Quick and simple show and tell today for these cards. So, I hope you enjoyed it. As always, comments below are appreciated. Hop on over to blog, pumpkinhillstampers.com. Sign up for my blog post so you don't miss all the fun details and projects I'm sharing. And if you need the tutorial, sign up for the show and tell newsletter. The tutorials will be on next week's newsletter from this week's videos. And if you miss my tutorials, if you miss the newsletter, or if you're seeing this well after the publication date, hop on over to the blog because I'm posting all my tutorials over there and you can download them for $2. So your support is always appreciated. I hope you do some fun stamping today, and I hope you enjoyed today's show and tell. Alright everybody, thanks so much, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.